In this update, we've got several rounds of strong to severe storms and a pretty significant cold blast for May standards, even some record low temperatures to talk about. So let's highlight the details in the days ahead. And we can actually see we've got this really dominating ridge of high pressure up here into the Pacific Northwest, lifting all the way up into Alaska, down into British Columbia. And then we have what they call high base thunderstorms. These blow up in the higher elevations in the heat of the afternoon. You can definitely see it's pretty evident here forming off the Rockies. And these push eastward off the northwest flow. So this is exactly what's unfolding as showers and thunderstorms erupt in the heat of the afternoon. We also have a pocket of instability down here into the southeast. That's adding some additional shower activity just south of a cold front. And to the north, you are experiencing that colder air. In fact, portions of the Northeast actually are going to be seeing some record low temperatures tomorrow morning. Those areas in blue here, that is a freeze watch, folks. Yeah, this is the middle of May, but that's a pretty significant cold blast. And that's going to bring some chillier air, if not freezing temperatures. So some of these areas could see temperatures right at freezing or slightly below freezing up here in northern portions of PA, into upstate New York, back into Vermont, New Hampshire, and portions of Maine headed into tomorrow morning. But there's a setup for later on this afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center does highlight those highly elevated storms, and that shifts eastward during the heat of the afternoon. So we do have a marginal risk or some of those could have some gustier winds associated with them. But further south, just south of that cold front, draped across in a good part of the southeast, you'll also have some pockets of instability that could have some marginally induced severe storms, mainly a wind threat, but then heavier rains underneath that. What if a lot of lightning? And you saw pockets of that yesterday. You're going to be definitely seeing more of it today. But look at those record lows. I mean, that is chilly, folks. All those circles there, that really depicts a record low temperature. In fact, 18 is forecasted for tonight. So all those shaded in red, that is below freezing temperatures. So definitely get out your jacket up there into the Northeast. Even Ohio's checking into the mid 30s. So you're definitely going to feel that colder air in a big way. So if you are in the market for a weather station, I definitely highly recommend the Tempest Weatherflow weather station. It's the best one on the market that I feel. I've had 5 of these things in my lifetime, and this is by far the best one. They do have a convenient app you can download and be a part of the 45,000 people that have the Tempest already across the country. The coolest thing about it is it's all solar, and it literally takes 10 minutes to install. And once you do, it's a set and forget it, folks. It pretty much works itself, and you don't really have to touch it. You always just have to reap the benefits of tracking all the weather data, and it can get pretty detailed, as pretty much as detailed as you want. So if you'd like to purchase one of these, I do have a 10% discount code in the description below. I'll have the link so you could possibly click on it, and free shipping at checkout, so you can actually click on it and order one for yourself. But take a look at the setup as we go into Thursday. So we've been watching this cold front kind of meander. There's 2 areas of instability that we have to highlight. One down here off the Baja, that is your lift mechanism. So as these storms come across, that's the southwest flow. That's going to be creating the lift in the heat of the afternoon. At the same time, we also have another lift mechanism up here, up into the Dakotas, back into Minnesota, and that's on the southern side where we're going to be having a lift in the heat of the afternoon. So let's take a look at the setup for your lightning display going into about 6 o'clock. You can follow the time on the upper right hand corner of the screen. So yeah, about 6 o'clock, you can see in the heat of the day, peak heating type setups where the lightning could be displayed and where the showers and thunderstorms could be around that 6 o'clock time frame. And then further south, you get the dry line set up out here in West Texas, getting up in the heat of the afternoon. And then there's further south in the southeast, you got south of the cold front, adding some more unstable energy and firing up those showers and thunderstorms in the heat of the afternoon. So going into your Thursday, there's your dry line type setup into the heat of the afternoon out here in West Texas. a little bit higher elevated out there, so those storms do fire along the dry line. So places like in the Midland, places like into portions of Lubbock, maybe reaching the Abilene area, heading up into the Oklahoma City area. Again, these are marginally induced thunderstorms, nothing terribly to be concerned about on Thursday, but those could be some higher wind gust in the heat of the afternoon. But where we are going to be finding just north of that cold front, we do have a pocket of energy that could overturn the atmosphere a little bit more and create higher rain amounts in these areas down here in portions of Denver, back into the Oklahoma City area, just maybe towards the Topeka region, back into Tulsa, getting into the Amarillo region. These areas actually desperately need the rainfall. That's western Oklahoma and a serious drought right now, having that above average rains, if not some heavier downpours in the heat of the afternoon. So this is actually kind of a good sign to see such a high, higher impact event with some multi-inch rain totals up there into the Texas Panhandle, western Oklahoma, southern portions of Kansas. We do have a little pocket of low pressure just kind of sitting off the coast of the southeast coast. So if you live in maybe like the Savannah area, some of these storms could really get some serious potential flooding if this low pressure drifts a little bit further inland. But just offshore, you'll be picking up very, very heavy rain. So definitely be concerned about, if you live closer along the coast, you could be looking at some isolated flooding concerns, especially complements of this low pressure center. It's just going to be, it's just sitting, spinning, meandering over several days to come. But as we transition into your Friday time frame, again, we're having the lift mechanisms lifting a little bit further and pushing closer into portions of Texas. As at the same time, we've got that northern side that's going to be drifting further south, complements and moving along that cold front. And this one back behind it's got some pretty chilly air going to be associated with it as well for a good part of the rest of the country, especially the central and eastern 2/3 of the U.S. The Pacific Northwest, guys, you don't get into the cold air. In fact, you get into the well above average temperatures. That high dome of high pressure is just not really going anywhere anytime soon. So here's the dew points as we head into your late Friday afternoon time frame. You can see right along the dry line here, we got pockets of upper 60s, if not 70-degree dew point. That's plenty of moisture going to be tapping into the lift mechanisms out west, right? So as the cold front comes and as the low pressure and the dry line gets a little bit more active, then boom, we should start to fire numerous showers and thunderstorms. And this is going to be a little bit more unstable atmosphere because they've got a little bit more moisture to work with closer to the Gulf. And that's exactly what we're going to have. Is the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted that slight risk for severe storms back into the San Antonio region, the San Angelo region, all of North Texas into the Dallas region, back into the Little Rock region, that does just south of the Oklahoma region. So it comes out of your area on Thursday, gets more unstable as it pushes further south. So we'll have to be concerned about showers and thunderstorms. And again, another peak heating type of event blowing up around 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon and then diving southeast through the early evening time frame. So if you look at the overall satellite view on how it may look like about 7 o'clock, you've got the active dry line pushing a little bit further east, right? And then you have the cold front. So you have showers and thunderstorms blowing up along that atmosphere. Could be right along the Dallas-Fort Worth area, starting to develop out here into the Little Rock region. So this whole area of instability, we've got to be concerned about, likely 4, maybe 10 o'clock in the afternoon, for that 6-hour window as that cold front progresses from northwest to southeast during the evening time frame. So as we transition into Saturday morning, this is where we stand. So we have that cold front again pushing south. It's probably going to be clearing North Texas by then, but there's the cold front with the additional shower opportunities. This isn't severe. This is just light to moderate rain that were draped across this that secondary cold front. So right, you got the one in the northeast right now, so it's pretty dry for most of the week up into the northeast. It's not really unsettled until we transition into Saturday morning, deeper into the day on Saturday, and that rain just ends as we transition into Sunday. time frame, because as we go into that Sunday time frame, this is where the rain could be starting to enter the I-95 corridor, pushing offshore. And most of the areas back into New England are going to have that shower opportunities. But you can see for the rest of the country, behind the cold front, you're pretty clear, right? Typically, cold fronts clear the atmosphere out. And you got the ridge of high pressure, you just never see any rain because you got the sinking air, or you got drier air filters back behind the cold front. And that's exactly what's going to happen across the central and eastern 2/3 once that cold front moves through. And you can definitely see on the temperature anomalies extending into the weekend and heading into the early part of next week. You got a good part of the southern plains, a good part of the southeast, as well as back into the Appalachians, back into the mid-Atlantic states, and to the Northeast, all getting the action of those below average temperatures, while again, much of the Pacific Northwest, much of the West, you can definitely see the heat building, pushing a little bit further into our north central states. That's, I think, exactly what's going to happen. That's going to take some sweet time. You're still going to reap the benefits and taking advantage of that cooler, drier air behind the cold front. But this, I want to take you out in the tropics, because we always have to look for this time of year. We are getting towards a hurricane season. In fact, it actually started out there in the Pacific already. It starts officially on the 1st of June in the Atlantic. But check out the sea surface anomalies for the Atlantic right now. And it's pretty highly unusual to see something well above average out here so far out in the open waters. In fact, coming off the coast of Africa, that is +3, guys, a temperature anomaly. So that's pretty unusual. So these areas typically are a lot colder than average, and it's completely the opposite. So, and you can see much of the Atlantic basin is well above average. So anything that tries to come out of this region, it's definitely got some warmer waters to contend with, right? And it definitely has that, as this will be traversing across. This is something we got to keep an eye on, especially as we get towards, hurricane season and deeper into the hurricane season. So let's transition going into Monday. So as we start the week, right, you're still behind that cold front. This is where the cold front lies. It doesn't actually make it into Florida. Sorry, guys in Florida. But you're in the rainy season. You're in the rainy season now, so you get the light to moderate rain. You desperately need the rain in Florida. So now that the rainy season has started, and especially with these cold fronts dropping so far south, that's going to put you in the kind of the bullseye area of taking advantage of those, showers and thunderstorms in the heat of the afternoon. And then again, we're seeing another kind of higher elevation type setup as we get into the heat of the afternoon. We've got that lift mechanism still out here off the west, right? So as we get into the heat of the afternoon, higher elevation storms blow up. Again, kind of marginally induced, but again, these are areas that desperately need the rain out in West Texas, New Mexico, back into Colorado. So this is definitely a good sign that the shift is actually started and transitioning some of those storms and some of those drought prone areas that definitely need the rain. And as we go into Tuesday, again, we see the satellite picture heading into your Tuesday, May 23rd time frame with the same type setup, right? Heat of the afternoon, you got the lift blowing up off the Rockies, high base thunderstorms, and then boom, you got the active dry line out here in West Texas, the Panhandle, Western Oklahoma, back into portions of eastern, western of Kansas here. So again, these are highly high base thunderstorms, and then they'll traverse southeast slowly in the daytime heating, and then as the sun goes down, then they typically lose their energy and they tend to dissolve and fizzle out as you head towards, say, the midnight time frame. And that's typically what you'll find in these spring-like type setups. And that's exactly what we're going to be finding as we go into the early part of next week. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I do daily updates on those platforms as well. And catch me at the next update while I protect you before and after the storm.